Yo, yo, yo.
What's the
What it
vibe?
do, baby boo?
Hey, what it do, baby boo? We back.
We
We back.
back.
Happy
We
Sunday.
back.
We back.
And we live.
Y'all know we love to sing and dance on here,
Yeah,
right?
right? Like,
Lottie's always singing. I'm always dancing.
Unprovoked. Can't help it.
Not provoked. Welcome y'all to Hear Us Out. I'm Rhyver.
Yourself.
And that's Lottie. And y'all are tuned in to episode
5.
5.
Episode 10.
Singing. See. Lottie, what are we talking about today?
So, y'all, today we're talking about shooting your shot, taking risks, and making opportunities. So get those pens, pencils, notepads ready. We got some things for you today.
Rick Ross hair up.
Ooh.
Okay. No, truly. Let's get into it, yeah?
Yeah, we're not wasting no time. We prompt over here.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, why is shooting your shot important? Like, why does that matter?
Right. And also, just to preface, we're talking about shooting your shot professionally. If you're trying to holler at somebody, then
Oh man, don't forget, y'all, this is the music and media blueprint.
Different podcast.
This is the music and media.
Yes.
Blueprint.
This is for
give like building advice, but not in that capacity. So
that part.
So shooting your shot professionally, Lottie.
Shooting your shot professionally. Emphasis on professionally. But though you can be shooting your shot professionally in the DMs, you could do it via email, you could do it in person, whatever. Why is it important? First of all, shooting your shot is important because it's really about you betting on yourself and knowing the kind of value you provide and what you can do to elevate situations for yourself and the other person. So it's just important to realize that you as a professional, even if you are, say younger or more or less experienced or transitioning into a role or whatever, there's something that you have that can create opportunities, generate capital, whichever else, for that other person or entity that you're looking to connect with.
No, for sure. It's like, you know how when we talk about needing a fresh set of eyes?
Yeah.
Right? When you've been working at a company, you built your own company, right? You're the CEO, you're 10, 20, 30 years in. You're 10, 20, 30 years into that same ecosystem because it's what you built for yourself, right? So sometimes you need a set of fresh eyes that have not been in it that long to be able to see from zoomed out. Okay, wait, here's where we could do a little bit of tweaking in this foundation. That piping looks like it might need a little bit of fixing. Let's try and replace those windows. Yeah, like there's a lot of perspective that can come from being a fresh eye, a new
emphasis on perspective.
So I think, like shoot your shot is important because you always have something to provide. You always have something to bring to the table. Your perspective is your perspective. It will inevitably be different from somebody else's. Therefore, you have something to contribute. You have a different perspective. That's everything. Like that goes into anything you're trying to do, any industry. When you're trying to figure out who your target audience is, when you're trying to do all these different things, like you need to understand different perspectives. So shooting your shot, don't let we said too, we literally just said we'll have another episode about imposter syndrome, but don't let the imposter syndrome stop you from shooting your shot.
Don't do it. Also, because, not to get too much into it, imposter syndrome literally is not real. That's the craziest part. It's in your head. It's you telling yourself that you're not capable of doing something, and it's like, stop talking to yourself like that. Stop it. And just as easily as you can talk down on yourself, you can big yourself up. Embrace delusion. That's all I'm gonna say.
Do y'all hear all these bars? I'm sorry, Lottie occasionally drops bars. She's a songwriter, by the way.
Every now and then, right? A songwriter by trade, so
I
gotta do it.
Gotta plug my girl. Songwriter is here or wherever she is on your screen. Yeah, that's where she is. So, anyways, like get out of your own way when it comes to that. Like that, the importance of shooting your shot it could literally change the trajectory of your whole creative career.
Seriously.
Uncreative career, your path You know what I'm saying? You
And
never.
not just yours though, right? Because if you want to shoot your shot, you need to realize that it could change the trajectory of that other person's too. So it's not just about you. It really, it's a symbiotic thing. It's like, okay, this is going to be crazy for me, but it might be even crazier for you. Like, think about it from that perspective too, right? Because I feel like sometimes people feel like they're very selfish about the types of things that they want to accomplish for themselves. And first of all, that's fine. But second of all, if you really got it like that, they need you. They're gonna want you on their team. So keep that in mind too.
That's a word. Woo, I don't have anything to say. It's so powerful. Like when you really think about it from that perspective, right? Because I feel like obviously, you know, we're in the social media era too. So the term shooting your shot has already gotten all types of connotations attached to it. But ultimately, like in this case, you know, we're really referencing believe in yourself. That's what shoot your shot means here.
Believe in
We're
your
really
ability.
referencing take a chance on yourself. We're really referencing go for it. If you dream it, be it. Like that's what we're referencing when we say shoot your shot. So I just want to remind everybody that it didn't always have a, I don't know, whatever kind of reputation that it low-key has right now. But, you know, just keep that in mind, like the benefits of really going for it, betting on yourself and saying, yo, yes. And then seeing too how someone else can benefit. Like, come on, can you imagine what could come from that? That's fire, Lottie.
Yeah.
My said that.
Had to say it. Had to say it. And again, when you realize like your own power, that you have like certain perspectives that are important and certain insights and certain capabilities, that's what's really hopefully giving you the confidence to do something, right? Because a lot of times what fuels people to shoot their shot is like, okay, this can change everything for me. But when you see it from the other perspective, that emboldens you to be able to do it without fear.
I love that.
You can hear the snap.
That when you see how it could also shift the other side, that emboldens you. Because it's like when you believe in yourself, that's one thing. But then when you believe in the impact, the growth that could come from seeing it on the other side too. That's deep. Yeah, I fuck with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also why like visualizing is important. And again, that's going to be another episode. But like when you can literally see the results of your own actions.
Yeah.
Game changing.
Chills. Love it. Love it. Okay, so what is shooting your shot actually look like in execution?
Yeah, so here's the thing with shooting a shot. Funny enough, like obviously, and this is very common in business, that comes from like sports terminology, right? Like in basketball, you're literally shooting your shot to get that ball into the hoop. So as with anybody that does anything, if you want to make sure that you have a higher chance of that shot going in, you got to put in the legwork. You got to do a little training. You got to be going to practice, right? You don't go from the park to the NBA without putting in quite a bit of consistent work. And that is where you build those skill sets, where you gain that knowledge. So like all of that stuff that you're doing today and that you've done in the past, that's what prepares you for being able to shoot your shot now and in the future. So I was talking to Rhyver about this earlier, actually. It's like, you wouldn't try to shoot your shot from the bleachers, right? Like you want to make sure you're positioning yourself appropriately and making sure that you're giving yourself the best chance of making sure that goes in, whether it's from the 3-point line, the foul line, wherever. You need to prepare yourself. And that hopefully is all the work that you've already done up until this point. And that goes for if you have any sort of like transferable skills, or if you have like your own kind of like side hustle going on, or if you've been doing independent research, whichever which way that you're doing it, put the reps in, because that's what's going to affect that shot.
I think one of the things that I tell a lot of creatives that are trying to break into the TV film industry, like, like they're like, how do I get a rep? How do I get a this? How do I get this kind of role? How do I get this kind of job? How do I get this kind of thing? And I'm like, apart from all the business stuff, like study your craft. Study your craft, because the more you know about it, the stronger at it you'll be. Study your craft, because the more techniques, the more approaches you can learn about how to execute, the better off you'll be. The stronger your results will be, the more versatile, whatever the case may be that is pertaining to your industry or whatever your background is, whatever you come from. Like, study your craft, put in the work, do the time to understand, like, okay, wait a minute, I'm about to go for this opportunity. What is this opportunity? Who's on the other side of the opportunity? How can I be contributing to what they already have built? And how can this also help me continue to build a stepping stone for myself? Like, but you have to do that analysis. You have to do that thinking. You have to do that planning. You know what I'm saying? And just look, one of the things that I've been saying all week, you don't have to be perfect to start. You just have to start. You just have to start. It will get better over time as it continues to grow. It doesn't have to be perfect to start. Just start. Just go. Like, just go for it. Just go for it. Because there are benefits that not only for you, there are benefits that come from you growing that are happening around you. It's like, I've become a plant mom as of late. And I love the aspect of like watering a plant, because you watch how when its entire foundation is nurtured, when its foundation is truly nurtured, you watch how all these different elements start to grow from that, but from the nurture foundation. So it's like in the same concept that you were just talking about earlier, like, I really love how you said, like, it's seeing that it could also benefit the other side that emboldens you to do the thing. Because when you do your stuff and your stuff is clear and you know how it works, and then you can see from somewhere else, like, oh wow, this can help somebody else in this way. It's crazy. At that point, you're like, how can I not do it? It's fire.
No, but girl, you was just spitting just now. I was just like, yes, all the snaps. All the snaps. And it's interesting, right? Because we're also in a time where, being in the digital age, shooting your shot doesn't necessarily look the way it did like 20 years ago, 50 years ago, right? It's like, you don't necessarily have to like audition in front of someone or shake their hand and give them a pitch, though you should always have those things ready, right? Emphasis on being ready, because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and that gives you a competitive advantage. But it's that you could shoot your shot from social media. You could shoot your shot via an email. It's crazy how like a tweet.
You have that the Diddy example, and that wasn't even you shooting your shot.
It wasn't. That's the funniest part. I was just asking a question.
Right, but you see, it could have been, because then he could have been like, yeah, who's asking? And then you could have been like, yeah, I'm saying, you never know.
If I do. Listen, when I tell you something, the power of having like a portfolio already, or a website, or a deck, or just something ready to go. It's funny because one of my homegirls who's like a really awesome culture journalist, and she does all the things. Her name is Maikisha Dash. She had tweeted about going to the Pierre Moss show. And she was just like, and it was a joke, but she was low-key dead ass. She was like, yo, I would sell my coochie to be able to get into this show. And
how's the story about
he caught wind of that tweet and was like, yo, like, pull up. And he had like her name like ready to go when she had to check in, and he had it as Coochie Girl. But it's just so funny. Because like she shot her shot in a relatively like outlandish way, but it was very on brand, and it caught his attention.
Claps for the homegirl.
So like, and then she ended up
What's her name? What's her name?
Maikisha. Yeah, Maikisha Dash. But it's just funny because it's like, when we talk about like professionalism and all these things, but if you're creative, you can shoot your shot creatively.
Talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about how to stand out, how to stand out amongst the crowd. You know, especially in LA, like, right, we know everybody's in LA and everyone's pretty much trying to do similar things in LA. As an LA native, I witness it and I'm like, oh
yeah, everyone's pretty
in LA. Literally everyone is in LA. Whew, I'm a little overwhelmed, but you have to stand out, because there are a lot of creatives. I feel like it's a creative evolution right now, evolution and revolution. Like, it's just like a moment happening, and it's probably bigger than a moment. And so how do you stand out? Like,
actually, I have a story about this. So once upon a time when I had first moved to LA, actually this might have been before I officially moved out, but I had a good friend, her name was Lyric, and she's a songwriter. And she had emigrated from the Caribbean to be able to pursue her dreams. She came all the way from Dominica to make her dreams come true, like crazy. And so we were at ASCAP Expo, and essentially, like, they were going around, after the panels, you have an opportunity to ask questions. And so the mic had gotten to her, and she was just like, listen, my name is Lyric. I came all the way from my home country on a one-way ticket to come to LA to like make this happen. I have a song I want to play for you, just one song. And mind you, these types of conferences, you're supposed to submit stuff in advance, yada, yada, yada. If you don't have your stuff in, like, you can't. But everybody was just like rooting for her. And so they were like, okay, play your track. So she runs to the back where the DJ's at. She plugs in her USB. She plays her one song, and everyone is blown away. Everyone went up to her afterwards asking her what her name was, what was her social, what's her situation, are you signed? Like, I was just like, oh, damn. And that's actually how I got to know her as well, just like seeing her do that. And I was like, that's brave as hell. Because there are multi-platinum, Grammy award-winning everything in that room and on that stage. And she impressed. 12 out of 10, no notes. Like, she impressed. And that's what I mean about like shooting a shot and being ready. Because like if the song was trash, it would have been like, damn.
Security.
Like, yourself in front of a room full of opportunities. But like everybody was trying to know what was up with her, because she shot her shot and swish. Killed it.
Inspiring as heck.
Killed it. And she got to work with like Chris Brown because of that, and a whole bunch of other artists. It's like, it's crazy.
That's a really inspiring story. I don't have one. I don't think I can think of one that is better than that. Like, that is the epitome of, and the confidence to know.
Oh, she knew she had it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who would have done? I mean, listen, if you didn't have the confidence,
a lot of times the artists like, let me freestyle or this, that, and the third. But like, she played the most pristine record. I was like, Jesus, like, somebody got to sign this girl or like work with this girl, because crazy. And she was like one of the main people who was writing like references for Rihanna at the time. It was like a whole thing. I was just like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think too, to another, I guess, combination of what we were talking about earlier, another example of this is like putting yourself out there. And I know we talked about that a little bit. We constantly talk about that, actually. Putting yourself out there is like, I always think about all of the people that have like really utilized social media to help like boomerang their careers. So like, for example, I'm thinking about Quinta Brunson, for example, like being a viral sensation, or people knowing you as that sometimes casts a light over the fact that she really was putting in a lot of work on the back end before she created Abbott Elementary, all these things. Like, she was putting in the work before she was doing all that viral stuff to be prepared for the opportunity, goes viral on social media, gets the attention from the industry that she needs, and now is literally like has become like, it's crazy. Her name is like it feels like such a small amount of time. Like, everybody's talking about Abbott Elementary, number one. Number two, the award shows are going crazy. It's crazy, right? And it's like, just putting yourself out there and knowing that it'll resonate with who it's supposed to resonate with. It'll do what it's going to do. And like, that's a good way of using the online part to kind of just like, in a way, it's like your portfolio. If you utilize social media, I guess, as a portfolio, that is a form of shooting your shot in itself, because it's just there.
Absolutely. No, but okay, can we talk about that though? Because like actually the cool thing, the interesting thing about shooting your shot is a phenomenon. It's like a lot of times we look at it as us trying to reach out to someone who is above us to, you know, to accomplish certain things. But sometimes it's that person reaching out to you. Yeah. Right. And then you gotta be ready with the response. Right. So that, and that's why it's important to have ideally some sort of compilation that showcases your abilities and your efforts, right? So whether that's a playlist, whether that's a portfolio, a website, you know, some kind of peer-reviewed article, whatever it might be, having that on deck to be like, oh yeah, here, totally, like let's talk about it, or let's, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like, and to just already be ready with it. That's the thing. Cause I've seen a lot of people get that opportunity faster than when they wanted it. Oh man, this happens all the time. Like, we see how easy it is to go viral on TikTok, and now you're viral, and then the response comes and you're not ready for it, but you put yourself out there. So the preparation part, you're right, it's super key. It's super key, because it could happen at any given moment. And to your point earlier, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I love it. Do we have any? Wait, I didn't even look. Have you been looking at the? Hi, friends. Do we have any questions? I didn't even look. Hold on.
Check the chat. Oh my goodness. Do we have any questions? If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat literally at any time.
Happy Sunday, y'all. Just
Happy
hearing
Sunday.
y'all talk about your experience.
I just want to actually tell one more story based off what we just said about, you know, someone kind of like farther along reaching out to you. So there's this one really incredible designer. His name is Sam Ross. And essentially, you know, he had I guess a portfolio of stuff either on social media or wherever else. And Virgil Abloh had reached out to him via email saying that he wanted to see what was up and that he had like an opportunity for him. And when I tell you, this man sent portfolios, links, he was ready, like multiple different, I was like, oh my gosh. Because listen, like Virgil Abloh is like, God rest his soul, him, right? It's like the epitome of what it means to be a fashion designer. And I just thought that was so crazy. I was like, first of all, the Virgil Abloh like reached out to you and you were just
ready.
Like, let's go.
Does that not, those moments give me, when I hear these kinds of stories, I literally get chills, because I'm just like, that is divine. I love those moments. Like crazy. It could literally happen. You always have to be, oh man, y'all, being ready. This is what we meant. I literally, Lottie knows, I freaked out when she said the basketball analogy of like, why would you try and shoot the shot from the bleacher? I was like,
what's going on? Like, stand up, bend your knees a little bit.
That literally hit me so hard. I was like, why does that make sense? Like, that was duh. Yeah, you're so right. But when we were talking about that, I was like, dang, you know, you really do have to do the prep. Like we talked about it for a second. Like, the prep is everything so that you actually are prepared for that moment, because it could come at any time. Because when you're using, like we said, when you utilize social media as a form of just putting yourself out there in general, it's already out there now at that point. So it could literally come from you putting yourself out there physically over email, in person, DM, whatever, or someone already seeing the work that you put out, and now got to be prepared no matter what.
That's also why it's important to have like public profiles, try to exercise a certain degree of professionalism. Like yes, be yourself, but also like don't retweet porn, maybe. Don't, you know what I mean? Like have a burner for that. And then sorry, I had to say it. It's enough.
Y'all know we be on here y'all know we keep it real.
Y'all, like, you know what I mean? I'm just because
Because you're like,
I'm
yeah,
here.
because they're gonna scroll through and try and see what you about, see what you be thinking about, and that's all that's on there. They're gonna be like, so at what point do you work? Like,
Seriously, right? Like I really do think you should exercise those basic things.
and it's
Right.
like if you want to be present on social media, and like be free, I guess, if you will, then that's when I would say, the burner accounts come in handy.
The
You know,
burner,
it gotta be
baby.
your picture on the profile picture. Nobody gotta know it's you. It ain't even gotta be affiliated with your name at all. And then you follow
Burner.
who you want to follow, and they follow you, and you could go ahead and live your free wild life. But for brand sake, business sake, music and media secret sake,
Just be mindful of that, right? Just kind
presentation.
of understanding like what is required for you to make it in whatever field you want to be in, and how can you exercise being your most authentic self while also maintaining whatever degree of professionalism is needed to do that.
Yeah. We can have a conversation about that because I have a lot of opinions on that actually, as a
Yeah.
person who worked in freaking HR for a little bit in
Ooh,
entertainment.
yeah. HR people know what's up and what's good.
Yeah. We're gonna have a conversation about that at some
Yeah.
point.
Stay tuned for that. It's coming for sure.
Um,
But let's talk about some more tips about like shooting a shot in general, right? So first things first, do your research on this person or whoever your targets are, right? Like have an understanding of what are the things that they care about. And sometimes it's not something that's super apparent. Like it might not be like the very first thing like on their Instagram or on Google search. Maybe you need to go to page 7 to find it. Maybe you realize that they have some like nonprofit organization that they founded that nobody cares about, but maybe that's the thing that you lead with when you reach out to them, right? So it's like, look at the things that are not so obvious, but that are obviously crucial, and that can help you stand out a lot, right?
having that background context. I feel like you touched on that too when we talked about building professional relationships. You were like, do the research on the person before you meet them, before you go up to them, before you talk about them. So this is just a reiteration of that and it'll continuously get reiterated.
It's something that, here's the thing, we live in a society where people don't even read what's right there in front of them. So imagine you going out of your way to discuss things with them that were not right there. They're like, oh, wow, how did you even know that? Or how did you even realize that? Or like the fact that you even paid attention to that, right? Because again, people don't even pay attention to the stuff. We have people sending songs to like the HR people at labels. It's like, did you read? Did you read what their job is and what they do? They're not listening to, like, right? So the fact that you have that certain level of attention to detail
is important. And
so
having the craziest part, and I can say this as from an HR standpoint, and this is, I'm sure most recruiters would feel like that attention to detail can actually get you the job. Attention to detail can actually get you the job. And what I mean by that is when you shoot your shot, when you're in an interview, when you're in anything, and the company's mission or the person's personal ethos, what they stand on, their morals, their values, their principles, when you know some of their goals or their vision, even if it's just the main essence of it and not, I'm not saying know it verbatim, but when you know the essence of what it is that they're trying to accomplish and you can discuss that in the conversation, when you just shot your shot or you're in the interview or whatever you're doing, like that helps. Because it shows that you actually cared enough to do the time to learn about whatever it is, whoever it is, before you step to them to have a conversation. Now I'm gonna listen. Oh, wait a second. You took the time to actually read about my nonprofit foundation before you came to talk to me about
that part.
getting you signed to a label?
That part.
I actually want to continue this conversation with you because
Right.
you are a person who cares. You're a person who pays attention. It's so important, y'all.
I'm telling you, it's so rare. And I see it all the time on the internet. It's like, so for instance, again, another example, the other day, so I think everyone knows Carl who works at Spotify. He has the playlist Rap Caviar, which is huge right now. And then it also has like a spin-off docu-series on Hulu, which is Rap Caviar Presents. And he essentially had tweeted that if anyone has music that they want to share with me, I'm listening for the next hour, Spotify links only. Why was people dropping links for other DSPs?
Apple is
like, bruh.
Not paying. And then that was also lack of paying attention. You are hilarious. Lack of paying attention. But it was also like,
be for real.
Strategy.
Any chance that you do have is completely out the door. Like, the man works at Spotify. Why did you think? The fact that he even had to say Spotify links was crazy. That sounds like that's how I know people don't pay attention for real. Because the fact that he even had to say it, he works there. That's what he do. Why would you? I'm sorry. It's just this is what I mean. It's like people don't even read the stuff that is literally right there, directly told to them.
Lottie feels passionately about this. Y'all need to pay attention.
Please read it.
Please pay attention to the details.
Y'all
got her up. She energy, whole move. She preached just now. I don't have nothing to say.
What is going on? And it was a couple of folks. I was like, what is going on?
Mike, like, that's it. Pay attention.
Even if that was the most fire song in the world, he is not
opportunity missed because he's only looking for Spotify links, and you sent
and he told y'all directly. He didn't even make you do no research. He told y'all directly.
I don't know why people don't read.
But I mean, like that should have been an alley-oop, right? Like when we talk about shots being shot, the hardest shot is like the 3-point line. That's a good distance away. But the alley-oop, it's like, bruh. How you missed that? That was a layup.
Y'all,
don't miss the easy shots, because then the hard shots, it's not even worth considering. Don't miss the easy shots.
Anybody have an offering plate? Because this one right here, spitting bars. Like, I don't have nothing to say. So pay attention. Please. Pay attention before you shoot your shot. Pay attention to those details, folks. It's important. It's important. Like Lottie, yeah. I don't have, let me see what, look, they're cracking up, not the layup. I love y'all. Y'all are so interactive in the chat.
Okay. Shout out to everybody in Twitch right now. What's good?
Shout out to everybody in Twitch right now. What up, boss? What up, Emotional Taco? What up, Dre?
Emotional Taco is like
music golden. What up, y'all? Y'all having a good time. They're vibing with us, Lottie. They're vibing with us.
Appreciate y'all. No, y'all got questions, feel free to drop them in there for sure.
For real.
But yeah, we can talk a little bit about shooting a shot, cold versus warm, and then IRL versus URL. So a cold shot is like, you don't know this person from Adam and they don't know you. You just hitting them in the DM or you hitting them in person, whatever it is, and then just pitching whatever makes sense. Obviously, cold shots are harder to shoot. Ideally, if you want to shoot your shot, you want to do it warmly. So that means like someone making an introduction. Or, maybe you have like a mutual connection, or like maybe you guys are alumni of the same university. If it's like a sorority fraternity thing, low key should have it in the bag, because those people, they be going hard.
Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do.
Right. So it's like if there's some sort of association, even like that makes the shot warmer. And that comes from doing your research. If y'all went to the same school, you should know that. Like, you go to LinkedIn, it's right there. Everybody got their university on there, right? It's like if you guys participated in the same societies, whatever, it's like, do your research, you can figure that stuff out.
Yeah. No,
and that, again, any level of familiarity makes it a lot easier. That shot goes from like a 3 to a 2, right? Because like, okay, cool, like there's something happening here. I mean, obviously, even from that point, that doesn't mean that someone will respond, but it's a lot more likely that you'll get a response and that maybe you can get a conversation going. Me personally, if you can shoot your shot with somebody in person, do it. I've shot my shot with literal like multimillionaires. I don't care. If you in the room and I'm in the room and I can create any sort of context where the conversation makes sense, I'm gonna find it. And this is shout out to the people who are like finessers low key, and not finesse like in a bad way, but it's like sometimes you just gotta like low key wing it, right? Like it should be relatively easy in person, especially if it's like a panel situation. Like I just saw you on this panel. Like what better way to? It just makes sense. I just saw you speak, and this one point, I always take notes when people talk. I'm like, yo, this one thing you really said really resonate with me. You know, maybe tie some example to that, or talk about how whatever you're working on relates to that. Like, I would love to be able to connect further. They're gonna give you an email. A lot of times they'll give you their phone number. Like a lot of
And I
times.
think it helps too when you feel like authentically moved by a person too that you're trying to like
1000%.
reach out to and connect with, because like when I am listening to people speak on, like Lottie said, when I'm listening to people speak on panels, and if they say something that really resonates with me, I almost feel like I can't not say anything afterwards. So it helps, it helps sometimes being in those in-person situations. I definitely can say it definitely helps, because I am like I said, I'm an ambivert. I am introverted but extroverted, but more so introverted. But in those in-person situations, it's the the inspiration or the alignment that I feel that fuels me to go forward and be like, hey, I'm River, nice to meet you, blah 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 blah, because I'm like, oh yeah, I actually am moved. I had like an authentic reaction to what you just talked about. Like, would love to like, and then it gives you something to actually be genuinely talking about, and it just fosters a better way to build that networking connection like we talked about last week.
1,000,000%. And also, like, one of the foolproof ways to stand out during like an IRL situation where you can connect with somebody, just put that shit on. Like, if you got a fly fit, or if your makeup is bomb, your hair is cool, you got interesting glasses, whatever. If you got like a conversation starter, like physically, bruh, it's really so much easier. I remember this one time I was connecting with this one man who's, a serial entrepreneur and has helped raise hundreds of millions of dollars to fund the things that he works on. And so I had spoken to him in person. I told him I love what he was talking about. Like, I wanted to connect. He gave me a cell and his email. He told me to email him and CC the assistant. I made sure I did that. And she responded saying, I remember you from the summit because of your outfit. And I was like, girl, like, and this was like weeks after that. I was like, wait.
Go ahead.
And my fit was fly. My fit was fly. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah, you better.
But it was.
Fly.
But it was. So it's like, it's so funny how things that, and mind you, the whole point of the outfit wasn't so people could, remember and talk about me. I just like fashion from New York. It's what I do. But sometimes a fire fit. It will open doors. I'm just saying.
No disagreement from me. I have no words. No disagreement from me. I agree. Just time and place, though. I will say that.
Time and place for sure. It gotta make sense.
Your definition of your most fire fit needs to still match where you are.
Right. The context.
Like if your most fire fit is maybe more like a going out at night to drink and kick it at the club with my friends.
Give me the daytime conference is not it. Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know. There is some discretion that needs to be. Yeah. But you get what we're saying. But I don't want anybody to get confused. Like, we're not saying pull up. Yeah. Y'all get me.
Yeah, y'all get it. But it's funny. And then, back to kind of like online. One of the ways that I stand out online, just speaking from experience, is I'm pretty much always talking about things that interest me within music and tech. And sometimes those tweets will go, like, there's just one time I randomly tweeted like, Miguel's song from a decade ago, just charted on Billboard, what's stopping you from pushing your song from a month ago? That got like 1,000 likes. And I was like, why? Like, that wasn't even supposed to be, that wasn't a think piece tweet. That was just a thought. I was like, oh wow, that's actually crazy. Like, are people not pushing the music when this is like a decade old song? And that went. So a lot of times, one of the things that can prepare you to shoot your shot is just talking about things that matter to you. and then having people, it'll just reach people you never thought it would reach because of the way other people resonate with what you said. And they might agree or disagree, whatever, but if it's like a conversation starter or something that is like poignant or whatever else, that can do something. Because I remember there's some certain people who would like that tweet. I said, oh, hold on. How did you see this? And I had to send him a DM, be like, yo, what's good?
So Emotional Taco says, would it be fine to just DM someone or email them saying they inspire you or compliment their work if you aren't exactly looking in that work at that exact moment? I do it all the time. Lonnie does that all the time.
Yeah.
I comment on people's stuff even if I don't know you.
Because my whole thing is like, you want to be able to build whatever level of familiarity you can build, right? So whether that's liking their stuff on social, actually the easiest way is to interact with their stuff on social. So whether that's liking it, quoting it, sharing it, whatever, yeah. It's like, and the thing with DMs and emails is like, you might not necessarily get a response with that, but actually, can I share another example of this? So that's a great question. So there's this one artist who's very popular, Grammy nominated, multi-platinum, Billboard charting, whatever. And his manager is a female manager. And so I'm a female manager too. So I was just like, oh, wow, like I love what she's doing, what she's done to help elevate this artist over the past, I want to say like 6 or 7 years that she's been working with him. And I had attended a panel that she had spoken on. And I specifically attended that panel because I knew she was going to speak on it. You know how I knew she was going to speak on it? Because I watch her socials like regularly, right? So I was like, oh, this is my chance to finally like get to hear her talk and then maybe follow up with her. And it was through that panel that she had shared her email, which is nowhere that you can find on the internet. So I emailed her. And this was after I had seen this artist perform on tour at Barclays. And I emailed her. I was like, listen, like, I saw you speak at this panel. I just saw your artist perform the other day, like stadium, or is that a stadium? Yeah, it's Barclays Stadium or arena. It's big. I don't know, but it's big. I think it's an arena. Either way, it's big. But I was just like, everything that you've done, like I remember when I had first seen him perform like in a room with like 25 people, and now he's like performing at some of the biggest venues, and that's a testament to you. And you had said certain things during your panel that really resonated, And she responded the same day. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, because I know she's a busy girl. But she responded. She was like, I really appreciate the kind words, and I wish you the best in your journey, yada, yada. And I was just like, damn. And mind you, nothing's happening between me and her. Like, we're not getting brunch. We're not, the networking, quote unquote, is not going further than that. But just having that brief interaction, to me, that was really worth it. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm so inspired. But yes, it's in short, yes. Yeah. I think that anytime that you can, because here's the thing, the music industry is brutal, right? And you can be doing the best job in the world, but if there's not someone telling you, listen, like, you're doing amazing, you really inspire me, they might not feel like they're making that much of an impact. So if they have anyone tell them and genuinely mean it, that's going to mean a lot. So anytime you can tell people that you appreciate them or that you admire the work they do, if they inspire you, tell them. DM, email, whatever it is, tell them. And you might not get a response, but I can guarantee 9 times out of 10, they probably saw it and they appreciated it.
No, that's facts. That's facts. I think you also have to take into account too, like, we're in this heavy social media era. So if you have positive words to speak over anybody, say them. We're in such a different time right now. And not to say that I'm sure other times were, every era, every time period has its ups and downs, but we're in such hard times right now. So like, it's always a benefit in saying it, even if you're not in the capacity to network, like, give people their flowers, So I don't think it sometimes it gets to me that we even second guess it. And that's something that I've been talking about today a lot, apparently, is like second guessing, showing people love. Like, no, just go for it. If
we gotta have a whole conversation about that.
Want to compliment somebody, you really like their work, tell them that.
We gotta have a whole conversation about that, because I don't like this whole, I don't want to dick ride, bro.
Like, what are you talking about? So what, people just shouldn't be supported? People don't deserve fans? I don't get that. People don't deserve to hear that their work is dope all the time, because it is.
Meanwhile, they hear all this other BS all the time.
But we cloud them with all the negativity. But see, we gonna have another conversation. Look, we got a lot of other conversations.
Yeah,
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put out another survey because we saw the survey that y'all responded to yesterday. Shout out to all of y'all. We're gonna put out another survey so y'all can tell us what we talk about next week, because we know we put a button in a lot of cool topics, but we want to hear from y'all.
For sure. And if there's any more questions, comments, concerns, feel free to share them. We'll address them.
Thank you, Emotional Taco. I'm glad that you be pulling up. Yeah, me dancing. Here we go. See?
Appreciate the love, the love.
But yeah, okay, no other questions in there? Wait, let me make sure. No. Okay.
Okay, cool. We don't have any on Twitter either. Great. Guys, this has been awesome, amazing. So those who are here watching live, you know, it would be super helpful if you would share the link to this live or to our Twitch or whatever else. This will be the first one that appears. That way other people can get this knowledge too. And then you can tag, hey, hear us out, because we're hey, hear us out everywhere. Whether that's on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever.
Sure to like, retweet, tweet, all that good stuff. We love that y'all are engaging. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. And we'll be back here. Y'all know where to find us next Sunday.
Next Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time with the goods. We'll see what the next topic is. We'll put out a poll and y'all can vote. Y'all let us know what y'all vibing with. What y'all vibing with? All right, Lottie, you was preaching today, sis. Period. That's your shot. Proud. 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky. I think that was him. If not, my bad, but I think it was him. If not, my bad, but I think it was him. And with that, au revoir. We out. Bye, y'all. See y'all next week. Bye.